All right, Gilbert, it is now time for our very special guest. You love him. I love him. Gilbert, every time we're at a game, he's like, bro, let's chat a little bit. I try and throw some fun his way. You can ask him about it in a second. It is the guy with the best handle on Twitter, the Tyler Dragon. Tyler, thank you so much for jumping on with us. How are you doing? Oh, shoot.
What's up? Always glad to be on. And yeah, you provide the best press box commentary, and you keep the game fun, especially preseason games. So I appreciate you for that.
Is it things that you can share on here or no, Tyler?
There is probably nothing I can share in here. I don't want to get this podcast canceled or myself fired.
Thank you.
He has, the best press box conversations. Probably my favorite, especially around the Chargers.
Dude, I rate the food, the quarterbacks, the this, the that. I'm all over. Dude, during the draft, I had Tyler in stitches as well with some of my takes. So he could, like, one of them he was having a heart attack over was that I was like, oh, when Andy Reid retires, like, Mahomes is kind of screwed. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, he would be screwed.
I'm the same way, Tyler.
Yeah, I don't agree with that take
at
all.
With you.
His quarterback takes are sometimes questionable, although they are funny, especially during the Chargers preseason. Okay. His quarterback takes were hilarious.
But you know what's funny? Tyler does not know what's real and what's not from my jokes. So that's how you know they're good jokes. He doesn't know if I'm being serious or if I'm just trolling. So that's obviously
he's trolling about Mahomes, maybe not so much about Kyler Murray. I've learned that, Tyler.
Okay. I mean, Mahomes is, in my opinion, he's the best quarterback ever now.
Did you?
Oh,
wow. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. Did you hear, though, when Gilbert was at training camp, he turned it and somebody went, ow! Gilbert's like, what the hell? And he turns and he looks. He had stepped on Kyler Murray. God, this guy is rude.
See, he doesn't care. He's just making these terrible jokes on here. See, that's probably one of the jokes that you heard at SoFi Stadium, Tyler.
No, I did not give him that one. I was waiting for you.
He didn't. He didn't give me that one. But hey, Kyler Murray might have a rebound season this year. He could get a win in Buffalo in week 1.
Ooh, I was eyeing that one too.
Yeah, no, Tyler. By the way, I didn't even fully introduce him. That's my bad. Tyler is a great writer for the USA Today. He just got back from Le Paris. No parlez-vous français? But he went out there. He was covering the Olympics. He does some Lakers, track and field. He does it all. Short, fat, skinny, and tall. So Tyler was out there having a lot of. Tyler, real quick, how much fun was? I mean, you and I talked about it, but how much fun was it going out there for the Olympics?
It was probably my top event that I've ever covered. I mean, I covered the Tokyo Olympics, but that was kind of overshadowed by COVID a little bit. There weren't any fans. This time, I mean, fans from all over the world, athletes from all over the world. Because I was at the track stadium every day, Stade France, and there were 80,000 people there. So imagine just going to a football game, an NFL football game, every single day of the week. 80,000 people. And I kid you not, when they ran the men and women's 100 final, the atmosphere was probably more electric than the Super Bowl.
Wow. Do you think Noah Lyles is trolling with, like, he doesn't know he doesn't know these guys, he doesn't know those guys? Like, he has to be.
I mean, I do think he's trolling, but he does have a point. I mean, if you're Noah Lyles, you can say you're the fastest man in the world. Tyreek Hill can't say that. Tyreek Hill, I mean, he can say he's the best receiver in the world, but it's arguable. Because, I mean, Justin Jefferson, I mean, these receivers aren't competing against each other.
Yeah.
Noah Lyles won the 100-meter at the Olympics, and he won the world championship in the 100. So he has a legitimate case when he says he's the fastest man in the world. Well, he has the resume and evidence to back it up.
By the way, your new coworker, James Williams, says Call of Duty just came out. Kyler might be shaky this year.
Congratulations to James too.
Yes.
I talked for a little while. Happy to have him aboard at USA Today. I know he's going to do a great job.
James is awesome. He also said Noah running with COVID was wild.
Yeah. But see, even with him having COVID, I'm not sure he would beat Leslie Tebogo because Tebogo was just in tip-top form. He actually beat Noah Lyles in the semifinals, and he's nothing to play with either. I mean, he's a very, very good sprinter, not only in the 200, but the 100 and even 400 as well.
Tyler, before we ask you about the NFL, what did you bring back from France? A bunch of bread, or what did you bring back as a souvenir?
It's funny how you say bread, because I had no idea how much French people love bread. Like, they literally walk down the street with French bread. That blew my mind. And the bread was A1. But what I brought back some French wine and, of course, some cognac. Because, cognac France, I had to bring back some cognac. And I got some Olympic, goodies for the family and everything. You could actually see my little Eiffel Tower back here. You probably can't, but I have it on my bookshelf. I got a little Olympic Eiffel Tower, too. So I got some couple, swag things from the Olympics.
Tu es la boulangerie?
Oh, no.
I know how to say no hablo Espanol and French.
No parlez-vous français?
No parlez-vous français. I know how to say mercy. I know that. Okay. And there was see, my French has already escaped me. I feel like it is so. My French has escaped me. I don't even want to embarrass myself on here.
Well, Spanish is okay, Tyler. We're here. We call this the carne asada. It's kind of like our way of doing an NFL season preview. It's our fourth year in a row. So we have you on because you are the expert in the NFL and you know some Spanish, so that's okay. You're a compa, you're one of us. So how about we take you back to one of your old beats in the Cincinnati Bengals, the whole dilemma with Jamar Chase. Do you think we get an answer on the contract this week? Do you think he plays without the contract? What do you see with this one here?
So I'm hearing no deal was imminent with Jamar Chase and the Bengals. And that's kind of unfortunate because Jamar Chase is deserving of a long-term extension. Both sides are talking, so that is positive news, but there's no finalized answer when a contract is going to get done. And really, the Bengals have the leverage because, Jamar Chase has 2 years left on his deal, and when you look at receivers across the league, they usually try to hold out or negotiate contracts when there's 1 year remaining on their deal. Now, the leverage that Chase does have is the Bengals have already showed their hand. They're not going to pay T. Higgins. They already placed him under the franchise tag. They pretty much let it be known that they're not going to sign him long term, and he's just going to be in Cincinnati 1 more year. So Jamar Chase knows that the money that the Bengals have left is going to go towards him. It's just the question is, what's the money going to be like? And can both sides come to a mutual understanding and mutual agreement and be happy with the numbers? And for the Bengals, they probably want Jamar Chase to come under a Justin Jefferson, come under a Tyreek Hill. And if you're Jamar Chase, you're like, I'm just as good as those guys. So I want right there comparable or even above. So I think that's the sticking point right now.
Could he sit out games?
Oh, yeah, good question.
I hope not, but I can see a scenario where he sits out week 1 just to prove a point because the Bengals play the Patriots week 1. The Bengals could beat the Patriots without Jamar Chase and might be able to beat the Patriots without Joe Burrow. But
okay, I don't know about all that.
Hey, Jake Browning did well last year.
Needless to say, the Bengals will beat the Patriots with or without Jamar Chase. With T. Higgins and that defense, I have no doubt, especially with Joe Burrow behind center, that they'll win week 1. The question is, though, if he sits out week 1, is he going to play week 2? Because they have no chance against the Chiefs without Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Tyler, it's a weird scenario with the Bengals because, as you know better than anybody else, like they have a way of doing business, and it didn't make an exception for Joe Burrow because he's a quarterback and they've never had a quarterback that good. But then they're going back to their old ways when they see a lot of these teams trying to make contracts earlier than expected. We saw Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, because you know that the wide receiver market is going up. Like, just give him what Jefferson got or what I think there was like a report saying maybe getting a penny more. Because if you wait another year, it's going to go up. Like, it's going to be kind of like with a quarterback thing where we're like, okay, this guy's due next in line. So you think they might change that way of thinking and get it done, or they're just going to just stick to their guns? And you know what? You still have 2 years left on your deal. But I do like, by the way, Tyler, that the wide receiver market is not like the quarterback market. We're like, okay, you're next up. You haven't done crap in the playoffs. You get paid. Like we saw Jefferson, number 1. We saw Lamb. And then we see like DJ Moore and Jalen Waddle and Brandon Aiyuk right below that because there is a positional ranking. Obviously, Chase would be top 3. But just to go back to my point, like, do you think the Bengals might finally get out of their old ways?
I think they will eventually, but sometimes it's tough to break old habits. And when I look at the Jamar Chase situation, it's a little bit different because he's actually holding in. He's at practice. He's at the meetings. There have been reports out of Cincinnati that he's actually working out on the side with Joe Burrow and, doing some, routes, but not an official practice. So I think the Bengals see that. And at the end of the day, they understand that Jamar Chase is a franchise type wide receiver and is one of the pillars of their franchise. And he's instrumental to Joe Burrow and the team's success overall. So I do think they're going to get a deal done because they recognize, he's for sure a top 5 receiver and arguably a top 3 receiver in the NFL.
And the crazy part is that they have T. Higgins now. They have Trey Hendrickson, who's also kind of disgruntled. You have Jamar Chase. So they're kind of boiling over a little bit with all the guys that they have there, obviously, with contract disputes and everything. But all right, Tyler, next question. What team has the best chance to dethrone the Chiefs this season? And what needs to happen for Kansas City to become the first three-peat in the Super Bowl era?
Okay, so in the AFC, it's a team that they open up with, the Baltimore Ravens. I love what the Ravens did this offseason, not only addressing the secondary in the draft, but adding Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry, in my opinion, still has a lot of tread left on the tires. He's still one of the best running backs in the NFL, and he fits that system so well. He can run in between the tackles. He can run outside zone. Read option with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the backfield. I can't wait to see that, how it just plays out and all the fits it's going to cause defenses this year. So I will pick the Ravens as the team to dethrone the Chiefs. And they're actually, I like how you asked this question. They're my Super Bowl winner. I just picked for USAtoday.com, and I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl.
The Ravens.
Yeah. Yes. I picked the Ravens to beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game and to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And then I think if I were to give you 2 teams, another team in the NFC that can do it is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they rebound after that late season collapse last year. And Saquon Barkley, as you can tell, I love the running back position. Yeah. I love great running backs. And they got the second best running back in the open market in Saquon Barkley. I think he's going to relieve some pressure off Jalen Hurts. The question is if Philadelphia's defense can get better. Last year, they ranked, second to last in pass defense. They did get younger in the secondary. So hopefully the new additions on defense, the new coordinators on both sides of the ball can have a positive effect for the Philadelphia Eagles as well.
Tyler's talking about Cooper DeJean. Yeah, he's going to light it up this year. You're going to be back there catching picks.
Hey,
Gilbert,
they got younger in the secondary. He's one of those guys.
They did. Gilbert, do you think Tyler could guess my AFC team that I think could dethrone the Chiefs or no?
You're going to give him more guess. You're a homer.
No. I'm in reality land.
I don't even know, to be honest. I haven't seen your pick yet for now.
No. But I've been talking about them for a while now.
Oh, yeah. I'm not into that pick. But do you want me to tell Tyler the team that you've been boasting about the whole time?
I think I know.
Okay.
I guess?
Yeah.
The Texans.
No, hell no.
It's AFC East.
AFC East?
He knows which.
Don't say I think you're going to say the Jets because I know you're not going to say the Dolphins.
Yes, the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay.
That defense.
I know you want to say the Dolphins because of
that defense, man. I'm telling you, that defense is something else. I don't. If they can just get Hassan Reddick back, like they're going to be even scarier. But I really like what the Jets are doing this year. Now it's obviously, can Mike Williams stay healthy? Can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? Can their 2 tackles stay healthy? But
It's a lot of questions.
I know it's a lot of them, but I really like the Jets, to be honest. But all right, Gilbert, go ahead with your second question.
Yeah, I'll ask him a Chiefs related question. Tyler, obviously the wear and tear, like on the body, the mental burden of being back-to-back champions. I was surprised they actually did it. They got it done, but to get that 3P, like, I guess what do you need to see to go right for them to become the first team to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls? Obviously in the Super Bowl era, but they added Xavier Worthy, which I feel like maybe last year the sluggish offense in the regular season was maybe an outlier. They might go back to being a dominant offense, but I keep worrying about just the mental burden. Travis Kelce's older. They did re-sign Chris Jones, but what do you see as maybe some areas that could affect them to not complete this 3P?
If Travis Kelce breaks up with Taylor Swift,
or that.
So the mental burden is real, and it does take a lot, not only mentally, but on your body to go through not only the regular season, but a playoff grind each and every year. Because, I mean, you're pretty much playing a second season on top of the regular season. And to do that, not only 2 years in a row, but possibly 3 years in a row, that takes a lot of toll mentally and physically. Now, a lot of people aren't really talking about the loss of Ladarius Sneed. And I do think that is a big loss for the Chiefs. Now, you do have still quality cornerbacks, but you can make a compelling case that Sneed was their best cover corner, especially press man corner last season. So you're losing him. Are you going to be able to still have a good pass defense going forward, especially in the AFC when you have some of the top quarterbacks in the league? And, I mean, you're going to have to face a Joe Burrow. You're going to have to face C.J. Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Herbert. So you have Aaron Rodgers, as you said. So that is going to be a huge question going into the season. Now, I do like their defensive line with Chris Jones. I like their linebacking corps, but the secondary, that's kind of an issue. Now, the offensive line, they have a rookie left tackle. How is he going to be able to adjust? I mean, you're protecting the best player in the National Football League, the best quarterback in the National Football League. That's a lot of pressure on a rookie left tackle. That's the franchise.
Tyler's adding to that pressure.
I mean, hey, they drafted him for a reason, so he obviously has some skills. But that's a question mark going into the season. But when I look at this roster, there are more positives and more things going for him than questions. And I absolutely love how they upgraded their receiving corps with Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown. I know he's injured to begin the season, but he's going to come back. 2 guys that can take the top off of the defense. That was an element that they were missing without Tyreek Hill. I mean, the Chiefs, they're going to be for real. And now they just added back an aerial downfield attack to go with Travis Kelce and underneath routes. And you still have Isaiah Pacheco running in between tackles, best quarterback in the league. They're going to be tough to beat. I want to bet against them.
Hey, Fernando, it sounds like they're going to win the AFC West at least. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, come on.
I know.
Obviously, one of the darlings this year are the Detroit Lions going into this year. A lot of people thought that their defense was their weak point last year. They went out, they drafted Tyrion Arnold. Falling to them was a godsend for them, I think. They've added some other weapons on their defense. Obviously, another year under Dan Campbell and Jared Goff. They paid him in the offseason. What do you think keeps them from making it to New Orleans for the Super Bowl? And do you think it is do you think it's kind of like I think they play 12 out of like 17 games, I think I saw inside a dome, like a retractable roof. Like, don't you think that's a little bit like, what if you have to go to Philly, or what if you have to go to other places? So what stops them from making it to New Orleans, and the other one is, do you think that's kind of a negative, having to play so many games in domes?
So I think the Lions have to worry about most is how they're going to handle having the bullseye on their chest. Last year, they snuck up on teams. They were kind of the darling. Everybody was kind of rooting for them. They were the feel-good story. They snapped the NFL longest playoff drought in NFL history. And now teams know, oh, we got the Lions. Oh, we got to circle them in our calendar. This is a good team. This is a legitimate NFC contender. So I'm going to get up for this game. That's real. Every player goes through that. I mean, there's a difference when you have the Lions on your calendar or you have the Patriots or the Cardinals. No offense, but those are rebuilding teams. The Lions aren't rebuilding. So that's something the Lions are going to have to go through, getting every team's best shot. And, so I do think you make a good point, them playing in the domes and them playing in, turf and not having to worry about the weather element. But if they don't get home field advantage going into the playoffs, they did play the 49ers tough at Levi Stadium, but they did lose that game. I mean, they're going to have to be able to play no matter what type of circumstance they are. And I do think Dan Campbell is going to address that with his team. I mean, he played with the Saints. He played in indoor Saints. He knows what it's like. That's a narrative. I do think that it has an effect, but I don't think it's going to have too big of an effect because, I mean, at the end of the day, the Lions play in a division where they play the Chicago Bears outside. They play the Green Bay Packers in those frigid temperatures. So they're going to be accustomed to it because they play in a division where they have to deal with rain, sleet, snow, hail, all types of weather.
Well, can you imagine having to go to Philly in late January? Like, might be, like you said, they have to get the first seed. So
I don't think they have to get the first
well, not have
seed.
to, but like, if you want to avoid all that, get the number 1 seed.
This is true. But then also, what's going for the Lions, they play a physical brand of football. I mean, Jared Goff can throw the football, but they do know how to run the football too. And that is very key when it comes to December, January, and for their sake, if they make it February football.
Did you pick them in the NFC, Tyler? Forget Ravens versus who?
Yes, I did. I did pick them to come out of the division, but I did not pick them in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, okay. I want to share or go read it at USA Today. I don't want to spoil it.
So I'm almost forgetting who I picked in the NFC Championship game. You have to go read it. That's a spoiler.
Yeah,
I do have the Eagles in the NFC Championship game.
I knew that one. That one I knew.
Okay.
I said it at the beginning of the show.
No. I knew that one. So I'm guessing you have Chiefs and Ravens in the AFC Championship. Yes. Interesting. Well, I was telling Gilbert, I was just so surprised that every team kind of went away what their strong suit was when they faced the Chiefs last season. Like Miami's strong suit isn't Tua and that passing attack. Yeah, everybody's gonna say it is. It was Mozart and Chen. That was whatever. That was their strong suit, and then obviously they went to play the Bills, and the Bills kind of went away with from what they did. Then the Ravens, that one was so surprising because Gus Edwards had a huge burst in the first few plays, and then after that they just try to have Lamar throw, and it's like that's not your game. And then obviously again in the Super Bowl they went more Brock Purdy instead of CMC, but obviously CMC had put the ball on the ground and on the first drive, so I get it, but I'm interested to see Ravens and Chiefs. That'd be interesting. Another rematch of the AFC Championship.
Who do you two have?
We're supposed to share later today, so we can't spoil it just yet. Yeah. But how about we put you more on the spot? You're the guest, Tyler.
Gilbert's going to have Bears versus Cardinals in the NFC Championship because those are his two teams.
I am big on sleeper teams. That's why I want to ask you, Tyler. Do you have any surprise team? Like, hey, that team that you're not counting on to be good, they're going to be good at the end of the year. Do you have a couple of those?
Oh, by the way, that was one of my points. L'Jarius Sneed is going to be a huge loss because can McDuffie now cover the number 1 and be able to do what L'Jarius Sneed did? So Tyler and I see eye to eye in a lot of things, even though he doesn't like to admit it.
For the sake of this show and just to make you happy, Fernando, one of my sleeper teams, I will say then, will be the LA Chargers.
Hey,
hell do I care? No, I thought you were going to say the Jets.
They're going to make the playoffs. And I don't know if this is a sleeper team, but I have the Atlanta Falcons actually getting into the playoffs too. But based on what they did this offseason, I don't know if you can call them a sleeper, but I think they're going to win their division and make some noise.
I didn't like the Rondell Moore injury. I actually thought that's going to hurt him a little bit. I like Rondell Moore. And then obviously it hurts even more that they went with Michael Penix, even though I told Gilbert, I know people don't agree with it, but I actually thought it was a good move for the future.
I do too.
He did say that.
Yeah. So, the next day when we jumped on here, I told Gilbert, I'm like, people are pissed and people are going to throw stones at me, but I kind of like the move for the future. They're protecting themselves just in case if Friday Night Light Kirk can't light it up on the national stage. So you got Michael.
I agree. You can get out of Kirk Cousins' deal in what 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, Michael Penix could sit, learn the system.
Yeah.
In 2 years. I mean, kind of what Patrick Mahomes did, although it was just 1 year, and then develop and then be ready. And then look what he'll have at his disposal.
Exactly.
Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I mean, you got
Bijan Robinson.
You have a lot of good weapons there. So I do like it.
I did like the moves for Jesse Bates. Or my bad, they already had Jesse Bates. I liked Justin Simmons, and I liked them going and getting Judon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I like both of those moves.
They have made moves where, so it's funny because they have both made moves to win now and also win later.
Yeah.
That's why I'm coming around to the Penix. I was one of the people that criticize it, but then I'm like, you don't have depth at edge rusher. You need more help for AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates, and then they go get Simmons and then Judon. And I'm like, oh crap, I guess I was maybe a little wrong. We'll find out if Penix is a real deal, but I do like him a lot now. But Tyler, for our viewers and listeners, why do you like the Chargers? Can you elaborate?
So Jim Harbaugh wins everywhere he's at. So that's number one. And I do believe he's going to establish a culture and identity that the Chargers need. Now, don't get me wrong. And both of you two know this. I wanted the Chargers to pick a wide receiver with the number 5 pick. But now that I've thought about it more and I've seen how all these rookies have performed during the preseason, I understand why Jim Harbaugh did what he did. Joe Alt was one of the best rookies in the preseason. And you solidify the offensive line and you protect your most prized commodity in Justin Herbert. After he just had that foot injury, you want to make sure he stays upright and stays healthy because you have no chance without him. And you can make a case Justin Herbert is top 5 in the NFL quarterback, but talent-wise alone, he's probably top, 3, just off pure talent and pure potential. So if you have that much potential at quarterback, you want to make sure you protect him and give him the best opportunity to win. And that starts up front with the offensive line. You address the running back position. Now, I do think eventually they're going to have to address the wide receiver position. Now, the jury's still out on all their receivers. They're pretty much unproven. Fernando's laughing at me because we talk about Quentin Johnson all the time. But Palmer's, I guess he's a decent receiver. But, I mean, I think he's a number 2 receiver at best. I mean, you have Lab McConkey, a slot receiver. We'll see what he does in his rookie year. And then the huge question mark is Quentin Johnson. Is he going to blossom into the first-round pick and his potential? If he does, then the Chargers have something. But that his success is going to determine how well the Chargers do this season, too. I do think that defense is going to be good with Jesse Minter at defense coordinator, though.
You know what's crazy also, Tyler, is that you have the foot injury. So Justin did not play that preseason game because it said elevator in parentheses for injury. Because that elevator seems like it took a lot out. Do you see what he posted on Instagram? He's a funny dude. Like, I think people forget it's a bit of a dry humor like Joey Bosa, but he put hashtag no elevators on his pictures. And you know, it's funny. Gilbert and I jumped on here and Mimsy's asking you about it. I was joking around with everybody. I'm like, what if Jim Harbaugh was behind the elevator, like stopping? And he's like, I want to see what my quarterback does under duress. What's going to happen when the going gets tough? And he sat there with a notepad and everything. He took notes and he's like, okay, he's doing this, doing that. That's why he praised him. What says you?
So that would be a very bold move, considering I heard they were stuck between the 3rd and 9th floor of the Dallas hotel room. So I wouldn't want to be stuck in the elevator in any floor, but let alone between the 3rd and the 9th floor, because if that elevator drops, this is coming from a guy who hates the Tower of Terror at Disneyland.
Ooh, that's a great one. I love that one.
I mean, I don't want to drop at all. I'd rather go upside down and stuff. So, yeah, Jim Harbaugh, no chance, Fernando. But I do like the fact that he was just speaking, is praising.
Hilarious.
We're like, man, like Jim Harbaugh, one thing we know about him already, he loves Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert can't do any wrong.
No, there's no way. What have you thought about his press conferences so far?
He has some.
Because you laughed at me.
Yeah, he has some funny analogies. He has some unique ways of describing things. But when he talks football, you can tell he's a football guy, and he knows what he's talking about, and he loves the game. And he has, I'm trying to say his quote, but I'm forgetting it. But he has a passion for football.
Yeah,
it's unknown
to mankind. Yeah.
So.
Who has it better than us? Nobody. Nobody.
You can tell he's a good coach, and his track record speaks for itself. But I do like his press conferences, because I usually always laugh at some point during his press conferences.
He laughed at me because I asked him. I was like, "Oh, what went into the decision of going with Luis Perez after Easton Stick and not Max Duggan?" And he goes, "Coach's decision." And like, I could just see Tyler like laughing. I was like, damn. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. And I like ducked out in the back and I just left because I was like, all right, I'll take the L on that one.
Yeah. That was one of the many times I laughed at some of his answers to the questions from the Chargers beat reporters.
Yeah, Tyler, I told Fernando, like, these beat reporters better be ready, because you better have a strong follow-up question, because he's going to give you yes or no, or give you those fierce eyes like, what are you talking about? You better be ready for Jim Harbaugh, I feel like.
He's like the opposite, and you know this, Gilbert, of Sean McVay. Sean McVay will give you long, elaborate energy answers, and you'll be like, man, I feel really enlightened after that answer. Like, this is a really good quote. Like, you pretty much wrote my whole story. I just have to put your quote in and I'm done. With Jim Harbaugh, it's like, huh?
You got to pick through the analogies and
kind of find out what he said. So it's kind of the opposite, but both coaches are, do well at their craft.
Mimsy does have a quick question for you. She said, as a member of the media, how do you feel about the injury updates being he's working through something?
I'm fine with it, because at the end of the day, during the season, the injury report comes out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we're going to know exactly what the player is working through. And on Friday, we're going to figure out if the player is in or out. So it doesn't matter to me. Now, during training camp and off-season program, I get it. But I mean, at that point, you still have several weeks until the regular season. But I get what he's doing.
I laughed at when Derwin said, he compared the first day of training camp like giving birth. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that's definitely a Harbaugh'ism, to say the least. Tyler, anything fun you're working on? Anything you want to plug? Anything you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I'll actually be at the Chargers practice tomorrow, and then Rams on Thursday. So I'm going to be working on pieces from those two teams. And then I'll be at the game, the Raiders and Chargers this weekend. I'll have a column coming from the game. So, yeah, be on the lookout, usatoday.com for pieces on those.
It's game time, Fernando. I'm not going. But
what happened?
Ask Gilbert if he's going on Sunday.
I'm not going, okay? I'm only going for the primetime games, the real time, the real games.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
But Tyler, I'll warn you. I'll warn you here, because you like Fernando chit-chatting in the preseason, but when the lights are on, it's regular season, tell them to get away. You can't mess around. You got to be ready for the column.
This is true. But I'll have. But see, halftime. During like halftime, when we're like chowing down in that great SoFi halftime, we can have a conversation, and pregame too. But during the game, Fernando knows it's all business.
Yeah, y'all would act like I go down. I'm over here freaking doing my own thing. So yeah, no, I wouldn't bug Tyler during regular season. That's what.
So wait, Gilbert, where are you going to be at Sunday?
At home.
Okay.
I do a lot of work from home. You know, I guess I tried it last year they had me do like 3 stories on Sundays, and they're like, you're more efficient when you don't go to the stadium. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So because Fernando's bugging me, so I stay home.
Oh hell no! I don't talk to him. I'm
not the best multitasker. I'll just say that.
Yeah, so I understand that. So I do this the same way, kind of, because I go up to the stadium really early, probably like 10 o'clock, and I'm working on the early games.
Yeah.
And then I just focus on one game during the afternoon.
See, prime time, I get one game. I'll be there. I can focus on one game, but having like 12 games on the Sunday, I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
You're going to the Hard Bowl, right?
That's the prime time game, ain't it?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, but I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a prime time game in LA, I'm definitely going to be there, whether it's Rams or Chargers.
We're thinking about doing something out in the parking lot, so we definitely would like to have you jump on if you're available.
If only I get some carne asada because I see.
Well, it'll be in the tailgate, so I'm sure somebody will donate some carne asada your way. But yeah, no, we're definitely thinking about doing something cool like that pregame.
Okay, I'll be there.
Yeah, there you go. So that is USA Today. Tyler, anything else, Tyler? Anything else you want to throw out there?
Nope, I'm ready to go home so I can get some food. I mean, ready to get to the dinner table so I get some food. That carne asada has me hungry.
And hang out with Baby Dragon. So we definitely appreciate you. That's a great nickname right there. But we definitely appreciate Tyler Dragon. He is a compa. We love him. Have a great one, Tyler. Thank you so much for jumping on with us.
Thanks for having me on. Have a great night.